This is only part of the story of how I met my husband and fell in love with him. I am working on the rest of it, but this is really the important part of the story of how I fell in love with him. When I was 15, I was in a forest area near my school with several friends. We would go here often after school to talk and hang out before going home for supper. It was also common for us on colder days to start a small fire to keep warm. Netherlands is a very wet country, so there is rarely a fear of a fire getting out of hand. However, the boys are another story. Boys always act dumb around fire. One time when we were in the woods, a boy who had been playing with the fire had lit a stick and was walking around with it like a torch. Somehow the stick or ember fell onto my school backpack and caught fire. This also caught my jacket and hair and skirt on fire, as well as the backpack began to melt from the fire and drip onto my clothes. Everyone panicked, and by instinct I ran back to the school. Running only made the fire worse. I was seen by an adult, a teacher I think, and I was put on the ground and the fire was put out. But much damage had been done already. I was taken towards the hospital and the school called my parents. I was burned from the top of my head down onto the top of my leg just above my knee. Much of my hair on one side of my head was burned away, but because hair burns quickly, there was little damage to my face, more like a bad sunburn, except for on my neck and along my jawbone where my jacket and backpack burned. My legs were mostly okay too, as the skirt I was wearing was wool and did not burn easily and was away from my legs. My right arm and body were not as well off. Where the jacket was and where the backpack was had burned the most and had melted like hot plastic because they were synthetic material. I was in hospital for many weeks and had many surgeries over the span of my life to help the skin grow and to graft skin from my legs onto parts of my chest and arm that were the most damaged. If I wear jeans and a long-sleeve shirt, you cannot tell that I have any scars other than the line of scars that go up my neck on one side. Many times I can hide those scars with makeup. The one good thing about being a redhead with pale is that it hides some of the scars, as some of it is also pale white. After my accident, I became more shy and less involved. I was afraid of what people would say about my scars and what happened. I would always wear long sleeves and hooded jumpers to try hide, especially in the beginning as I was waiting for my hair to grow back where it had burned. I have several rectangle-shaped scars on the inside of each of my thighs. These are from skin grafts taken to treat the scarring on the side of my body, chest, shoulder, and back where the burns were the worst. Even if you have not met many Mormons or believe in their teaching, I think most people are aware of the Mormon missionaries, especially the young men wearing white shirts and ties with black tags on their shirts with their names on them, riding bicycles. They really stick out in Netherlands because they are the only people in the country wearing helmets when they ride their bikes. Missionary work is not a requirement as a Mormon. It is voluntary. The church decides on where to send you, and once you are in your country or area of service, you will still move around from city to city every few months until you go home. Near a year after my accident, we received a new missionary in my city. He was very nice like the other missionaries and was very cute. The girls at church always thought the missionaries were cute. I was 16 and he was 19, and I later learned that we had the same birthday. The new missionary had been out for almost a year and he spoke very good Dutch, although he spoke it with a northern accent where he spent most of his mission time at that point. He was also a very talented artist and would draw pictures of cartoons for the kids at church. As part of their missionary work, they were asked to also do community service. At a small fair being put on by the community, the missionaries set up a booth and he was doing face painting and painting kids' faces. He is a very talented artist and he was very good with all of the kids. I saw him many times during the day and talked to him a couple times while he painted my younger sister. He kept asking if I was going to let him paint me, but I said no and went back to the other booths. Later in the day, I was with a friend who really liked the other missionary. They are always in twos and wanted to go talk to him. So I found myself again at his booth. There was no one being painted at that time, so the chair was empty, and he started talking to me. He asked again to paint me and told me he knew what he should paint on me but would not tell me. With the encouragement of my friend and the other missionary, I reluctantly agreed. I removed the hood of my jumper and turned my left side to him. He told me to turn and look the other way, giving him my right side. My scar side reluctantly turned, and he began to paint me. I usually tried to hide my scars under my hair, but he moved my hair and I could feel him painting on my scars under my jawbone and onto my neck. He painted on me for what felt like a very long time compared to my sister, up on my forehead, down over the side of my face, a little on my ear, over my jaw, and onto my neck. When he was done, my friend looked at me in silence. The other missionary said, "Nice," and gave him a high five. I asked for a mirror and my friend dug her makeup mirror from her bag and handed it to me. When I held up the mirror, saw what he had painted and I ran. Our church building was nearby and open for visitors to come in and ask questions. I ran inside and upstairs too and found an empty room, threw myself in the corner and cried. He painted a bright orange, yellow, and red phoenix over my face. He painted over my jaw and onto my neck and used the scars as the tail of phoenix that rose up and framed my face. He had made my face beautiful. He saw beauty in me that I myself could not see and incorporated it into something that made me stand out and beautiful. My friend eventually found me and just sat down with me on the floor and held me, wiping my tears, more to protect that paint than to comfort me, I think. Eventually, she helped me clean up and walked with me outside. I had several people stop me that I knew and did not know and ask about the painting on my face. That day people saw my face and not my scars, and it was because of what he saw in me. I knew that day that I wanted to marry him. I wanted to be with someone who could see past my ugly deformed scars and body and could see me and make me feel special. I also knew that I was just a 16-year-old girl and he was practically a man who could not date and would only be in my city a short time and then eventually go back to the US and forget about me. The silly thing is, after that moment I had a difficult time being near him or talking to him. Girls are silly that way, I think. A couple months later he did get word that he was going to a new city, Seoul, and made his way around town on his last day, telling everyone goodbye before he left. My family asked the missionaries to stay for dinner and they did, making this the first time I had really talked to him since the fair. I was still very shy around him and nervous because of how I felt that day and what he did. Before he left that night to go and finish packing, I became brave enough to ask him if I could write him. He said yes and that he would like that and handed me a card with his new address on it. This was before email. My sisters heard my question and wanted to write him too, so I had to share the address. I waited about a week and wrote him my first letter. In it I thanked him for what he had painted on me and how beautiful I thought it was, and asked if he could send me a photo of it, if he had one. He wrote me back and told me he thought I was angry with him because I looked upset and had run off, and unfortunately I had run off before he could get a photo, so he drew a similar picture for me in the letter. I wish to this day that I had gotten a photo of it.
I go to computer science high school, and there are medical attendance classes you can take if you want to. I decided to go because I firstly thought that it's gonna reduce the cost of my driving classes. When I got there everyone was there. I was in row to the door and was sitting in third or fourth table. There was girl who was running late and she sat in front of me. She was wearing Jujutsu shirt and I complimented her shirt in whisper while teacher was talking. We eventually started talking during class and we kinda got to know each other. Next week there was a test for meds class that confirms you passed the first degree out of 3 degrees, which I failed and she also failed. But we both finished school at the same time, so we went walking. We were taking the same road but I had a turn where my bus station was. We were talking so much about professors from school and our struggles with CS subjects. She asked me if I would like to grab some coffee and said, "Yeah, why not? I will message you when I can." Meanwhile in background I was already in some relationship that I just wanted to end but I was afraid of hurting my back then girlfriend. The relationship was very toxic and couldn't stand it anymore so I broke up with her the same day. I was relieved and feeling much better and less stressed. Fast forward 2 weeks, I messaged the girl I met in meds class and asked her if we could go to this local cafe I knew. She said yeah, and we met next day. That was one of best choices I made. So we were talking about our lives, generally trying to get to know better each other. I said there is a back alley restaurant which is pretty cheap but has amazing food. We went there and I ordered a chocolate pancake and she got fries. We were both full, but damn that pancake was so good. Later we went walking a bit and we somehow came to idea of doing a prank call when she complimented me how good I imitate a voice of one of professors that we're taking classes from. So we decided to prank call her classmates like he called them and asked what he should get from gas station, and asking them if they did their homework. 2 of them got scared the living shit out of them, and some of them realized someone was joking. I remember the meds girl was laughing so goddamn hard she was literally jumping. Eventually I had to go. But on our way to my bus station we couldn't even walk properly because how hard we were laughing. When we arrived at the bus station, the screen where all the bus lines are going and how long will take to arrive, mine had about 20 minutes. So I asked her if she wants to listen some music with me, and got to know that we have really similar taste in music. We were listening Patience by Guns N' Roses and some other songs. We were sitting so close. Our elbows were touching, like that touchy-feely touch, if you get what I am saying. When bus was arriving, we just looked at each other if we should just give fist bump or something. We didn't know how to say goodbyes, Lomeo, so she just hugged me like real hard. When I sat in the bus, I realized I fell for her so hard, and was literally daydreaming almost every day about her to the point my grades were start to get worse, which I noticed. I can be self-aware, so I noticed it pretty quickly. Fast forward 2 months. It was 3 weeks before Christmas. During these 2 months, we went out multiple times and were walking from school together, and my friends started teasing me, which actually was a good sign. I asked her if she would like to go out tonight to see how city is during Christmas times, and it's beautiful. We met up and her mom was going with her because her mom was also going with her friend. They left us alone on the train station. We were talking about stuff we could do. Originally, we were planning to go ice skating. As we arrived to the city, there were a lot of people. Like a whole lot of people. We were walking around a bit to see what's new. I showed her a bookstore that was close and frequently go to. It has anime merchant stuff and has some Jujutsu Kaisen stuff, but she didn't have money to buy any volume because it was pretty expensive. We went on and time came when we had to go to ice skating park. On our way there were so many people and we were frequently separated from each other. That kind of annoyed me and I just straight up told her, "Grab my hand." She was holding my hand so tight that I knew this is it, that this is my night. We came to the park, but there was a big line of people waiting. We weren't sure if we would make it. Fast forward, there were too many people, and that was biggest ice skating park in the city. So we went back. She was sad a bit, but I proposed that we should get some waffles. We got 2 chocolate waffles, but man, those things are so sugary, I couldn't even eat the half of it. She has a quite good appetite. When we finished eating, we started to hold hands again and we came to some old man who sold cooked wine in little glass jars. I decided to buy one and we drank it together through a straw. It was delicious. She asked if we could walk to the upper city and I said, yeah, let's get to the top tower actually. For context, top tower is a tower in my city which would fire from cannon when clock would hit the noon. We came there and on the loud radio there was playing Patience from Guns N' Roses again. I knew that if I don't confess to her now that I would miss a bullseye. We watched over the city. It was such a beautiful view. And I picked up my balls and said, "Hey, I really like you." She said, "I like you too. You mean to me more than just a friend." And then I said, "I love you." And she said the same thing back. We hugged hard. I can't explain this, but at this exact moment all of people that were around us just disappeared and time stopped. There was just me and her and music. We kissed and I felt chills through my spine. There we were, kissing on top tower, looking over the city, one of most amazing and most romantic moments in my life. After we snapped back to reality, we went home and it was almost midnight. We said our goodbyes and kissed once more. And we are still dating, almost 3 months now. Edit, we broke up.